Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. All right. Welcome to today's webinar. So please, let's wait for some other people to join. All right. I can see Wura Ola Ibrahim. Good evening. Rodiat, good evening. Yeah, good evening. Kayode Miracle, welcome. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the Agrocentric Webinar 2025. Yeah, welcome, which is proudly organized by Precision Feed Academy. So my name is Ajayi Titilope Beatrice, and I will be your moderator for today's session. And it's a pleasure to have you all join us today. And for those that are just joining us for today, for day 2, Agrocentric Webinar, I welcome you. Are highly welcome. So kindly let us know where you are joining us from. Tell us your name and your expectation in the chat box. So kindly introduce yourself, tell us your name, where you are joining us from in the chat box. Emmanuel Williams, you are welcome. Robinson, you are welcome. So kindly introduce yourself in the chat box, tell us your name, where you are joining us from, and your expectation. Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. All right, Chidima is joining in from Lagos, Nigeria. You are welcome, Chidima. You are welcome. You're welcome. All right, so we have Robinson, Miss Agriculture from Nigeria. You are welcome. Emmanuel Williams joined from Niger State. You are welcome. Yeah, so I'm still expecting your name, where you are joining us from, and if possible, tell us your expectation. Your name, where you are joining us from, and your expectation. All right, good evening. My name is Chinwe, joining from Niger State, Nigeria. You are welcome. You are welcome, Chinwe. We have Ibrahim Wuraola joining from Oshogbo, Osun State. You are welcome. All right. So keep the introduction, keep it coming, please. Keep introducing yourself. Tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and your expectation. So what do you hope to gain from today's webinar? Bridging youth inclusion and the talent gap in agriculture. So what are your expectations? So do well to tell us in the chat box. Okay, Ogbaye Jennifer from Lagos, Nigeria. You are welcome. Yeah, Scholastica, Delta State, Nigeria, hoping to learn more about how more youth can have impact in the agricultural space. Yes, you are in the right place. Welcome. Adeleke Malik from Ilorin, Kwara State, to learn more about agricultural revolution. That's good one. You are in the right place. All right, welcome, 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 everybody. So in case you did not meet me when I was introducing myself, my name is Global Beatrice. Yeah, so and I will be your moderator for today. So today's discussion focuses on a very important, right, and timely subject: bridging youth inclusion and the talent gap in agriculture. So this conversation is especially relevant as we rethink agriculture, right? The future of agriculture and the role youth can play, the role young people can play in agricultural productivity, sustainability, and innovation. So you see that this topic is a very, very paramount topic, right? It is very important in today's, in today's world that we have, especially in today's agricultural world. It is very important because youth are the key factor or key player of agricultural innovation. Yes. So before we proceed, okay, so somebody say, oh, tell your friends that we are live. Yes. So if you have friends that have not joined us, kindly message them, tell them to join us now. We are live. You can do well to send them the link. Um you can do well to send them the link, copy the link and send it out, post it on your social media, post it on your status, let your friends also come and benefit from this session. Yeah, okay, we also have somebody. My name is Olajumoke Olaniran, joining from Ibadan, Oyo State. Expectation to learn from expert in the agricultural field. Yeah, that's good. You are in the right place. Welcome, welcome. All right, so today, before we proceed, I would like to invite a key voice behind this initiative, Precision Feed Academy. You should know who we are talking about. So before Mr. At this point, I'm pleased to invite Flying Farmer, who will speak to us about Precision Feed Academy, what we stand for. Yeah, what we do at Precision Feed Academy, and why platforms like this are very important. So join me to welcome Flying Farmer. Mr. Femi, you have the floor, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Beatrice. And hello, everyone. Yeah, I can see every one of you joining in. Yeah. So, as you all know, my name is Femi Adekoya, and I am the Flying Farmer. Thank you so much, guys. Zat, good to see you joining. Tell your friends to, join in. I know that many of you are not new to the academy, and some of you are new. So it would be great to sort of reintroduce ourselves, perhaps understanding why we do what we do, or perhaps also you seeing why you are here. If we align, which I believe we align. So we are building the capacity of young professionals like you to lead precision agriculture and remaining relevant in the future of work and technology. When it comes to the agricultural sector, we believe that agriculture is definitely evolving. It has always been evolving, right? It has always been moving, but it's more about you, in the evolution of things. So, and that's why we have, this webinar. We have a wonderful speaker to be speaking to us today. This is all we are all about, right? So, diving deeper, our vision is to sort of create a world where every young person like you, regardless of your background, has the opportunity to become digital savvy farmer or professional, driving sustainable and equitable growth in your communities through the transformative power of technology. We believe technology has power, but power is just power when if it's not used. And who is going to use the power? It's you. We believe in the agency of youth, and that's where our mission is to raise the next generation of farmers and professionals that are tech inclined and digitally savvy. Yeah, we're a social enterprise, as our goal is to see social change and transformation, and that's where we are training, building capacity of young professionals like you in modern and emerging technologies for the future. You can be able to lead with precision agriculture. Here is our methodology. It's three, and something that you should know. We use a tool of education and knowledge sharing. This webinar is actually one of it. We use the tool of training and skills development and coaching and mentorship. I agree that many times it's a murky water, or perhaps it's an uncharted territory, and you definitely need, persons, leaders who could give you, advice, who could help you see what does the future hold, right? Again, this is why we are here. And there are a couple of tech skills that you can acquire with us. You know what I mean. Drone technology, GIS, that's geographic information systems, remote sensing. I know that you've gotten a good dose of that yesterday with Precious Nene, a geospatial analyst with integrated area precision, data science for agriculture, robotics and Internet of Things in agriculture, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. And not forgetting, and more importantly, enterprise development skills. We believe that your innovation, your value need to be brought to market, right? So, and that's why we emphasize that. Why do we do what we do? This is our motivation. We know that there is a skill gap to be closed, and young professionals need to build skills, both technical, soft, enterprise skills for the future of work in agriculture. And take it from me, observing the trend is not enough. Knowing the trend, oh, it happened this to so and so, this is now where we are in. It's not enough. Youth like you need to become enablers and players in the fourth agricultural revolution, or what we call digital revolution. And you not just being a mere observer, right? Spectators, right? We want you to become enablers. We want you to become influencers. We want you to become players. And last, why we do what we do is that technology is key to unlock Africa's agricultural potential. So, and we believe in your agency as youth. Uh, this is why you need to join us. We are creating the future we want to see in African agriculture. We are here to connect you with information and the world of opportunities. We have leaders. We have all the resources, I can say, or most of the resources that would help you, from different opportunity, from scholarship, internship, volunteer, opportunities, local and international, all for your growth and development. Talking about skills development, through project collaboration, community interaction, and workshops. Yeah, you can get this. And access to coaching and mentorship from industry leaders and professionals. So, yeah, we are Precision Feed Academy, and we are all about building a community of young, tech inclined, and digitally savvy farmers and agricultural professionals. So, let me quickly tell you some of the courses that we have. Of course, I mentioned that we have some tech skills to pass across, which is drone technology, GIS, and many others. But let me spotlight some of them to you. We have the phyto mapping masterclass for crop monitoring and remote sensing. This is very suitable for you, researchers, agronomists. You're dealing with vegetation. This is a course for you. We will teach you how to use drone technology to map, not just to map, to gain insights and to be able to present insights. This will be a tool for you, right? And we have discounts going on many of these courses, not even many, every of the courses that I'm going to be presenting to you, from 25% to 50%. So take this time to grab the opportunity, right? You never know, right? So grab the opportunity. We also have the agricultural drone pilot training. This is for you who are looking at building your skills using agricultural drone, either building careers, agricultural drone pilot, operators, technicians, or you want to start a business with it. Yes, we are here to help you through and through. We also have some basic courses for you who are starting from zero. Oh, I don't know how to fly drones before. How do I start? This is for you. So check it out. Reach out to us. Send us an email at info@precisionfeedacademy.com. So get started. I will check up our website at www.precisionfeedacademy, precisionfeedacademy.com. So yeah, we'll be happy to have you. And I'm going to be, giving back the stage to Beatrice as she takes us in the webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Flying Farmer, for that insightful, overview of Precision Feed Academy. Now to the highlights of today's session. Across Africa, many developing economies, agriculture remains a major employer. Please, if you can hear me, I want to see your reaction in the chat box. Do you believe that agriculture remains a major employer across Africa? Please, if you can hear me, I want you to respond, please. I'm waiting. We will not continue if you don't respond. So I'm waiting for you to respond. Rodiat, Miss Agriculture, please, I want to see your response in the chat box. All right, so agriculture remains a major employer, yet we continue, to see a widening gap between available opportunities and the skills required to unlock the sector full potential. So today's session, we explore how youth inclusion, how youth in agriculture, how youth inclusion capacity building and intentional talent nurturing can reposition agriculture as a viable
Hey guys, looks like we are having some bit of network glitches, but the show still continues. All right. I hope Beatrice will be able to join us back. Stay.
All right, so thank you so much. Apology for the network glitch. So to guide us through this, important conversation, we have an experienced professional, who is deeply involved in youth development and agricultural innovation. As speaker, Eze Chidima Mary is a transformational agricultural development leader with over 8 years of experience advancing food security, youth empowerment, rural development, and climate smart agriculture across Africa. She's the founder and CEO of FarmCars, a tech-enabled agricultural HR. Please, I want to feel the energy in the chat box. Let me see let me see your emoji, celebrate her. She's the founder and CEO of FarmCars, a tech-enabled agricultural HR and workforce development firm, bridging skills and employment gaps in the agri-food sector, impacting over 5,000 youth and women. Chidima holds a degree in agricultural economics and is pursuing an MBA in international agribusiness. And Chidima is also a Chevney scholar. Yeah, I can see the excitement in the chat box. So as YPAD Nigeria country representative and an acclaimed agri-food influencer, she champions inclusive growth, women's empowerment, and sustainable agriculture across Africa. So welcome me, please join me in welcoming Chidima as she speaks on bridging youth and the talent gap factor in agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'm blown away already. Please, I want to confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here today to speak to us, particularly on a topic that is dear to my heart, which is how to get more youths involved in the agricultural sector. More of my conversation, like I mentioned, it's a conversation. More of my discussion today will be a conversation, sharing basically from my experience. Like she mentioned already, my name is Chidima Eze. I'm a Chibin scholar studying a master's in international development from the University of Reading. I also have a background, that's my bachelor's degree in agricultural economy. So I understand for those of us that are passionate about agricultural sector, or for those of us that have studied agri, particularly in Nigeria, I have walked the path that you are in, or you want to work in, or you're already working in. And I would say to a very large extent that some of the steps that I am going to share today have highlighted my journey so far to make it possible for me to be where I am today, generally. So, a moment, please. Let me use that to share my screen. I don't know. Can you see my screen?
No, we can't see it. It's not showing
Okay.
yet.
So it's showing already that it's sharing. So I need to confirm if you can
Yes,
see.
it is showing now.
All right, great. Like I mentioned already, our discussion today is how to bridge the youth gap that exists in the agricultural sector. And I know that a lot of us are not new to this conversation already. Like she mentioned, I am the team lead of Farmcast, and Farmcast for us is an agricultural HR firm. One of the highlights that I will also share about how I started Farmcast was also in the journey of discovering myself and what I do in the agricultural sector. So Farmcast, what we do basically at Farmcast is to tackle youth unemployment, particularly bridging the gap that exists. We provide some basic training. Of course, like you know already, agriculture is wide. So we focus more around the tech enabling skill in the agricultural sector and horticultural crop skill to train young people in these skills. And then we focus more on recruitment and matching agricultural talent to agribusinesses. Two focus for us there is to bridge youth unemployment. Second is also to support agribusinesses. A backstory to how I started Farmcast. I started Farmcast almost immediately. Okay, not almost immediately, but a bit after I graduated from university, or that's University of Ekiti State University. And one of the major challenge that I faced when I started my agricultural production, I went into horticultural crop production, was access to staff, both farm laborers, skilled staffs, and all of those. And this was like a very common trend, particularly for those of us that are in the southwestern part of Nigeria. But I know this is also not restricted to southwestern part of Nigeria because we've also had to work with agribusiness owners across the country. And so there was the gap. There were agribusinesses looking to employ. There were graduates from agriculture or graduates generally looking for job or employment opportunities, and they were just not able to connect. So what we do basically is to serve as the bridge that connects agribusinesses to talents, upskill talents, and connect them to agribusinesses. In the process, also we also support agribusinesses to training their staffs and also HR management, operations, and all. And then we recently also opened a job market platform where every agricultural job opportunities are shared or uploaded, and then you could easily access all of those and apply to jobs that are of interest to you. Now, for coming to the conversation today, like Mr. Femi mentioned already, agriculture is the largest employer of people, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, not just in Africa. A lot of people are involved in the agricultural sector, both young and old. But of course, the scale of involvement varies from region to region, from location to location and all. But in Nigeria, we have over 70% of people involved in the agricultural sector. And when I talk about agricultural sector, I am not focusing only on production. I talk about the value chains of the agricultural sector, both from inputs to seed, production, processing, marketing, and every other things that are involved in the agricultural sector. But one of the challenge again that comes with that, where we have a lot of people involved in the agricultural sector, is that a lot of our operations, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, are decentralized. And so anybody could easily come into the agricultural sector, produce, and then go out of the agricultural sector.
Actually,
and currently, the average age of farmers,
yeah, please, can you put your slide on presentation so that it can be visible?
Okay, yeah. So
Slideshow. Using slideshow.
Sorry, give me a moment. Okay, I am not sure. Is it better now?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And so one of the things that is also rampant in the agricultural sector, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, is that we have a lot of aging or aged people in the agricultural sector. And we cannot deny the fact that agriculture is energy intensive, particularly depending on where you play. But even across the world, agriculture is energy intensive. For developed countries, they've been able to improvise with the use of mechanizations. You see tractors, digital operations, handling a lot of the stressful or the energy draining operations in the agricultural sector. But unfortunately for sub-Saharan Africa, we are still used to the use of crude means in our production. Very, very few farms generally use tractors, for instance, mechanizations, drone, and all of this in their operation. And so one of the things that this has resulted to is that we see that a lot of youths are disinterested in agriculture. I, for instance, studied agriculture as a background, and until I printed my JAMB results, that was the first time I knew that you can actually go to school to study agriculture. And then I was asking myself, who goes to school to study agriculture? Because for me, growing up, my knowledge of agriculture is you can easily plant anything and it multiplies. You really have to do little or nothing in supporting your crop to grow, in as much as there is rain and there is sun. So going to university to study agriculture was quite new and strange to me, one. The second thing, again, in respect to that, is that this is not just my plight, it's the same thing for a lot of people who go to study agriculture, or people even come into the agricultural sector, maybe on the long run. And you see that because of the crude means of production in the agricultural sector, because of lack of digital platforms, network, a lot of young people are disinterested in the agricultural sector. But addition to that, also, there are a lot of other competitive industries that youth are going into. Recently, of course, we've seen the waves of people going into, tech. They are doing a lot of things with tech and all of those things, right? But we also need to start looking at how we can integrate each and every of these processes into what we currently do. So, like I tell people, agriculture is that sector that could employ any other people from whatever it is that you study. Either you're a banker, you studied accounting, you are a web designer, whatever it is that you are really, agriculture is the sector that can absorb everybody. So going into that, also one of the major challenge also that has created the gap that exists currently in the agriculture sector is that in most of our curriculum are outdated, which is one of the reasons why I am very, very passionate about training young people. Because as an HR person, one of the things that we've seen is that there are a lot of graduates coming out of university every year. But if you look at the skills they have little or no skill at all to be able to meet what the marketplace is demanding for. So it's not enough for you to say, you've done 6 months IWEX, for instance, as an agricultural student, or you just went to university and then you are employable. You also need to upskill yourself in market relevant and driven skills. We'll go to, I think a few of our slides will speak on that. So generally, these are some of the major challenges to the agricultural sector. And so you see that people graduate, they don't have the skill, or there's a skill mismatch. People just think, because you studied agri-economics, you can work anywhere in the agriculture sector, or you studied agronomy, automatically you're an agronomy for all crop. There are specializations to each and every of these things, right? So are you an agronomy for horticultural crop, cereal crop, for animal husbandry, just a lot of things. So these are some of the major challenges that we are currently facing in the agricultural sector. And all of these things that I've said basically boils down to two major challenges. Low productivity, there is wastage. Over 50% of the fresh fruits, vegetables, and fruits goes to waste in the agricultural sector in Nigeria. So that means as farmers are even struggling with the crude means of production that they currently use, a lot of it, almost half of it, particularly for those that are using perishable commodities, goes to waste because, of course, of a lot of factors, bad roads and all of this. And you see that what we are producing is not enough to sustain the population of the country, and then we now depend on importation of a lot of things into the country. So these are gaps. I just basically took us through this journey to basically show us the gaps that exist in the agricultural sector, and for you to see where you can start taking initiative to bridge all of these gaps that exist High importation basically means that a lot of jobs that could have been people that could have been employed in the agricultural sector to maybe process some of these commodities, or people that could have easily be employed in production process or in the manufacturing process, or in whatever process it is, have just been outsourced to another country. And so we need to start looking at how we can empower each and every one of us, particularly as young people, take good use of the opportunities that we currently have out there to empower ourselves, to educate ourselves better, and to be ready for what the market is saying. So, like I mentioned already, why do we need to start looking at youth inclusion, particularly for the food system in Nigeria? And like I mentioned, there is energy and adaptability. A lot of things are changing. I am currently in the UK, but I still have my farm operating in Nigeria. And as of last week, I was told that it's still rain in Nigeria, which for those of us growing up, it's not supposed to be. That is not the norm. So a lot of things are changing, and we cannot continue to depend on the crude means of information, guessing, second guessing to decide, oh, is it going to rain today? It's not going to rain today, because a lot of the people who are in the agriculture sector are our parents. They are old people. They are tired. They are weary. So imagine situations where they don't know if it is going to rain or if it's not going to rain, and then they go to plant, and then you see that at the end of the day they just planted, and then the rain didn't come, and at the end of the day, wasted money, wasted resources, and all of those things. But with youth involvement in the agricultural sector, one of the things that we see is adaptability or resilience. We are able to integrate technology to be able to determine, oh, what is the weather forecast, for instance. Going out almost before you plant, you are already getting yourself used to, oh, what is NIMET saying already in respect to weather prediction, particularly for your location or your region. That way you're able to plan. If the rain is going to be excessive, you plan yourself ahead. If the rain is not going to be enough, you know specifically what varieties of seeds that you're supposed to plant, or the cares that you're supposed to give to your animal, or how you can integrate all of these technologies and innovation into the value chain operations. But without youth involvement, you see that gap is also bridged and not be able to to improve the sector generally. Then the second thing again is innovation and entrepreneurship. Youths are very, very, particularly Nigerian youths, are very, very entrepreneurial driven. One of the things that have stood out to young people is the ability for us to be able to find solutions to a lot of the challenges that we see, and not just any solution, innovative solution. We've seen people, for instance, like Mr. Femi, who came with drone technologies to improve the agricultural sector. These are young people. Imagine it, and old people will not even fathom what drone can do. But with drone technology, they've been able to do a lot of things. We've seen situations like solid farming that are out there. We've seen sustainable agribusiness models that are able to stand the test of times and all. And so with youth involvement in the agricultural sector, you see that there is inclusion, and then there is entrepreneurship. We are able to connect the dots. One of the things that have also disfranchised us in the agriculture sector in Nigeria is that we do all of the value chain process in agriculture. A particular farm is the one that is involved in production. They're involved in marketing, they are involved in value addition, they're involved in transportation, they're involved in distribution to customers and all of those things. At the end of the day, you see you spend a lot of energy across the value chain, where you could utilize your energy or your strengths in a particular niche, and then you're able to grow with it, and then another person comes in and take the processes and continue that way. So with some of this sustainable development, we've seen a lot of young people coming out with great innovation. So currently there's a Nigerian working on traceability in the agricultural sector, how we could easily trace food, because we also understand the challenges that exist with food poisoning in the food system. A lot of our food, like I mentioned, our food system is very porous. Anybody can come into the sector, produce and supply to the market. And then we've seen a lot of adulterated produce that has caused a lot of health-related issues. But with young people coming in with innovations such as traceability, we see that consumers are able to know where their produce come from, what are the processes that they've gone through, and how long such products have been on shelf. That way, they're able to determine, oh, this is what I cannot go with, or this is not what I am able to go with. And I think one of the major things, or the last point that I have here, is that youth involvement in the agricultural sector is very, very important because it ensures food security. Like I mentioned, a lot of our old people, a lot of people involved in the agriculture sector are old, and they will obviously keep getting old. And if care is not taken, if we do not have more young people come into the agriculture sector, one of the things that we'll see at the end of the day is that we might begin to outsource our food system depending on importation. Now, one of the challenges to that is that we lose the originality of our culture, because food is culture. Our cultural food production. We are not food sovereign. Unemployment, of course, will continue to skyrocket and increase if that more young people are not involved in the agricultural sector. So I hope I'm not talking too much, right? But I think I've been able to convince you to say that young people cannot be ignored again in the agricultural sector, and then we need to start taking necessary action to bring them in or to absorb them into the agricultural sector. Now, I'll go straight to the opportunities, not just in the agricultural sector, but digital agriculture. A lot of young people again are disinterested in the agricultural sector because it's stressful, it's crude, and all of those things. But there are a lot of digital opportunities that one can take, particularly in this growing era of smart farming, precision agriculture. I am sure all of these conversations are not new to us, but I'll just be highlighting some of the major opportunities that exist in the agricultural sector and how we can brace ourselves up as young people to start taking all of these opportunities out there. The world needs your innovation. The world needs your mentality. The world needs what you're able to bring. So the world does not expect you to continue the norms. The world is expecting us to be able to bring our Gen Z, technology-driven knowledge and era into the agriculture and say, oh, instead of using oil and cutlass, instead of using, this, why don't we integrate this into this and then improve the processes? But again, you might not be able to know all of these things if you are not deeply involved in the agricultural sector and all. Now, so talking about, I'll just highlight maybe three major ones that stood out for me. And first, of course, is the drone technology in the agricultural sector. Drone is not a new thing for most of us. We've seen a lot of things that drone are used for mapping, spraying, and treatment of crops and all of these things generally. But way beyond, I know that again, we might want to start saying, oh, but these are quite expensive for young people. How do young people access all of these things and all? You can run some of these things as services, right? Which is one of the things that you also need to know about networking, about community, building a community that supports growth, that supports innovation, that supports driving technology across the agricultural sector. So drone is one of the things that, one of the innovations or technology or digital platform that is driving technology in the agricultural sector. Way beyond drone, even mechanization, that's in respect to tractors. We've seen tractors that are so precise that they are, you don't even need anyone to operate them. We've gotten to that era where a lot of our agricultural operations, are driven by themselves. They are driven by digital platform, IoT, and all of those things that have been done over the years to ensure that these are precise. These are able to drive every necessary innovation. These are able to drive every necessary technology that needs to be there. And like I mentioned again, there is mobile system. I think mobile system in agriculture is one of the things that a lot of Nigerians have not been looking out to see, oh, how can we improve mobile system in agriculture? Like I mentioned, a lot of people involved in the agriculture sector now are currently aged people. But one of the major challenges that also exists is that we don't have enough extension workers, extension agents that are involved in the sector. And so one of the things that can easily be done is to begin to integrate mobile systems into agriculture. How can you integrate mobile system into extension work, for instance, to ensure that a lot of people are already online? They could easily access some of this information that are out there instead of us having one extension agent going up and down to various farmers. Some of these things are easily accessed there. And now way beyond that, they also access, they can easily be translated for more people across various languages, for instance, across Nigeria, across Sub-Saharan Africa, such that they are able to utilize some of these opportunities to be able to address major challenges. Now, how can we also determine, weather forecast, for instance, the temperature of the soil? Because drought is a very reoccurring thing that is already going on globally in the agricultural sector. A lot of lands are going into desertification. That is, they are losing their potential to grow. They are drying out. They are not able to sustain plants to grow, and all of those things. And if they are not able to sustain plants, most of them are also not able to sustain animal. And so we also need to start looking at how can we use mobile system to be able to improve communication in respect to sending information to farmers, agribusiness owners, or possible events that will happen. I think one of the things that we've also been seeing so far, it might not be, it has not been fully integrated into mobile system, but is that there is also the market information. That is, are farmers able to get up-to-date information, right? To say, oh, this is the market price of commodities, for instance, today in Kaduna, or this is the market price of maize in Ekiti, or this is the market price of sorghum in Taraba, and all of those things. So up-to-date market access, market analysis is one of the major things also that farmers, agribusiness owners are also looking out for. I think one of the other ones are also very, very critical, particularly when it comes to bridging the skill gap, is education platforms. We do not currently have enough education platform, but again, thanks to precision agriculture for one of the amazing things that they're already doing to educate more people in drone technology. But drone technology is not enough. We need more people in various aspects of agriculture who are just educating people, on IoT, for instance, in the agriculture sector, who are just educating people around, maize, around cassava. There's just a lot of, our commodities that are out there. And so one of the things that young people can also look into is an agricultural education platform that basically breaks down every production process for agribusiness owners. I know a lot of people say go to YouTube, but there are just a lot of information on YouTube, right? And some of these are also not verified. Some of them are also not specific to your region. But one thing that can work in one thing that works in Nigeria does not mean it can work in Ghana. It does not mean you can use the same production process in Egypt or Niger, for instance. So are we also building something that are also local, that have been tested and tried within our local communities and all of those things? We've seen that there's currently an agribusiness that is doing something in respect to that. Also training agribusiness owners to say it's not enough for you to be producing alone, right? Are you also able to train other people, upload it on platforms, for instance, educational platforms, to be able to educate more young people out there? And so one of the things that we've seen is that with this one, we are bridging gap that exists already in skill. So I do not need to go and in quote study agriculture for me to be able to operate in the agriculture sector. I could easily go through some of these trainings, go through some of these trainings, and then I have an in-depth understanding of the niche that I want to work with. And then working that way, or one or two field experience, then you are able to integrate solutions to be able to drive all of these things that is needed. And I think another one of the bigger things that we are still not looking into that much is the Internet of Things in Nigeria. I recently already mentioned the issue of traceability, which is a very, very critical aspect of our value chain that needs to be looked at for currently because of the rising issues of cancer, for instance, a lot of diseases outbreak and all of those things out there. Basically revolve because of our food system is very, very porous. Then another one again is also in respect to the animal sector. We do not have enough Internet of Things that is able to predict, the temperature, for instance, monitor how the growth of the animal, and to be able to predict, this is when they are in heat. Is the temperature too high for them? Do you need to, automate some of the processes, cooling systems, say for instance, in peak production, and we do not just second guess until this is what they are going through. Are we able to identify disease outbreak, disease before they even break out, and affect a lot of our crops or a lot of our animals? Automation also when it comes to even water for feeding, particularly for those of us that are into poultry system, even the fish industry. You see that if one thing goes wrong with your feeding, your water, or the feed that you supply to your animals, you could easily lose all of your crops, all of your animals within hours. And so you see, these are some of the critical areas that we need to start looking into. And also crop health. Although we have some that are working already, platforms that are working in respect to crop health, where you can easily scan, take your mobile phone, scan a particular crop, say for instance your tomato, and it breaks down the diseases that are affecting your crop or tell you how healthy your crop are. But going way beyond that, one of the things that this app, for instance, also does is to say, oh, your crop is diseased. This is the particular disease that is affecting your crop. This is what caused it. This is how to prevent it for subsequent time, and this is how to control it for those that the outbreak. These are some of the things that we need to begin to work better on, not just for general cost, but now in respect to our indigenous sector, to start saying that, okay, how do we now integrate all of these things? So from all of these things that I've been saying, you will see that there is also a need for you to be able to be hands-on, to be really, really present in the whole process of production to ensure that, yes, growth is achieved, or maximum growth is achieved in the agricultural sector generally. And of course, I'm sure we all know about smart, irrigation, automated irrigation, where you do not even need to. I've seen irrigation system where you are basically in your house, and then you use remote sensors to control water and say, okay, lights off, open your screen house, close your screen house, and all of those things. This is the stage where technology has come into the agricultural sector. But we will not get there if we do not start the necessary work that needs to be done here. And it starts basically from gathering data. How many data? Do we have enough data? For instance, to be able to start integrating into things that we are doing, to start, getting weather forecasts that is specific for Equity State, for instance, or start getting rainfall pattern and predict, oh, this is what rainfall is going to be in the next 4-5 years in this region or in this location, and start saying, oh, okay, for those that want to do animal production, this is the best region where you can do it because these are the patterns. You see, what we currently do. So saying all of these things now, it also done or reminded me that one of the things that we currently do in the agriculture sector in Nigeria is more like, yes, you are doing your trial and error. Yoruba will say "Eyije, yoje." So that means you just pray to God and hope that the best happens. But really, which is one of the things that is frustrating young people in the agriculture sector, because you don't have much to put out there, and if you come in with the little that you have and then you get bonds, you see that a lot of people come into the agriculture sector, get bonds, and then rush back to other industries that they are into. So we really need to start seeing young people taking the opportunities that are out there to start integrating all of this. Even manufacturing is one of the major areas that we are also not seeing growth so far in the agricultural sector. So now, what are those skills or gap that you need to take to be able to bridge this gap that exists out there? I basically highlighted two here, which is technical skill, business skill, or also soft skill. I had to put in the business skill because, again, not all of us want to be employed in the agriculture sector. For some of us, want to run a business because of being able to identify challenges and then take initiatives and all of those things generally. So some of the technical skill, like I mentioned, one, you need to gain hands-on experience, irrespective of whatever area that you've been able to identify. Now, let's assume that you've not been able to identify any opportunities out there. I'll say that the first thing that you need to do first is to go out there and learn about the agricultural sector. If you don't have any knowledge about agriculture sector, you don't know what to do about agriculture sector, I would say it takes like 3 months to go and understudy with an agribusiness that you've maybe researched on or that interests you. That way, one of the things that this does for you is that you're able to see day-to-day activities, day-to-day operations of the agricultural sector. Like I was saying under the mobile system in agricultural sector, even running an agribusiness alone, one of the major challenges that farm owners are currently facing is that administrative work, taking records of all of those things. We can easily have a software and app that basically address each and every of those things. But for someone who is just outside and saying, because I've seen it, I've seen a lot of people reach out to me and say, "Oh, I know you're in the agriculture sector. I am doing this and doing this. What do you think are the challenges that are there that I can build something on?" It's not enough to say, ask somebody and say, what are those challenges that are in the agriculture sector that you want to build something on? You need to be able to also walk the path to say, because again, this is your vision, this is your goal. It's just very little that we can tell you that, oh, this are the challenges. You need to also build something that the customers are able to really relate with. And you cannot do that if you are not interacting with your customers enough and saying, okay, can I just go through the day-to-day operations of what you do for the next maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, or 1 month, or 3 months, as the case may be. That way you're able to understand where the lapses exist, you're able to understand where the challenges exist. And then when you, of course, identify some of these things, like I mentioned here, one of the things, digital literacy, you need to have an understanding, and not to begin to address all of those things. And then, of course, then you need to start taking learning opportunities, educational opportunities. You see, we are in that era that there are a lot of information out there that you cannot deny that, oh, you don't know this or you don't know this. There's YouTube there's Coursera, like I mentioned, Agrocentric. A lot of organizations are doing training. There's a lot of organizations running graduate training programs that are specific for some areas or some sectors. So these are some of the things that we need to start taking for those that are interested in, GIS, GPS, mapping, and all of those things. Go and learn about it. Sign up to programs, training opportunities that are out there for you to learn. There is, data analysis for you to be able to analyze data and make, inference decisions that are able to positively impact the sector and say, oh, because of this data that you've been able to gather, can even be consumers' data, it can be farmers' data, it can be anybody's data. That way, you're able to just make necessary decision and say, oh, because of this data, I will not do this. Now, I have a senior colleague who, for the past 4 years or 5 years, has not been doing. He was a large scale, or he used to be a large scale maize farmer, but of course, because of data that he has been gathering over the years, there was a particular year the data was just no. Data was telling him that you do not need to continue production next year. And then it just because of the of what he got from the data, it didn't go into production the following year. And one of the things that happened that year was that there was low production. Weather was very very terrible. Markets, Nigerian border was opened, so there was a lot of influx of maize from neighboring countries and all of those things. And then at the end of the day, price of maize crashed. And you see a lot of farmers wake up and complain and say, oh, they are making loss on their farms, or they planted and then, the cost of their inputs is more than the cost of what they are selling at, and all of this. So it just looks like a wasted opportunity and all. Because of course they're not grabbing enough data. I know of another farmer who, one of the things, I think when he was discussing, he said like, I think every 2 years or 3 years, I can't remember, pattern that he has observed with cassava. The price of cassava goes up for like 2-3 years. By the third year, I can't remember which of the year, but I think it's the third year or fourth year, price basically crash. So the year that price will crash, it does not go into production at all. Right, because of course he has gathered all of this data not just for 5 years, I think for 10-15 years thereabouts. So the year that price of cassava will crash, it does not go into production at all. What it basically does is that it gets from farmers around him and then able to supply what he needs to supply. That way, he's making, of course, his profits, and is also able to make sustainable decisions and all of those things generally, and not to weary out of the sector. So we cannot overemphasize the importance of data. We cannot overemphasize the importance of data analysis. Now, as somebody who has some of this skill, and then you are looking on how to start taking the work, in networking, meeting some of these people, there are a lot of agribusinesses out there. You could easily walk up to them, the data that they're gathering, or can you analyze it and for them to be able to make necessary decisions, particularly with respect to the growth of their agribusiness, and for them to be able to decide that, so maybe this is the commodity that is bringing in the most for us, let us focus on it, or develop a new marketing strategy or a new business model that is able to basically drive growth and innovations generally. And then when you come to the business and soft skill, like I mentioned, there's just a lot of things out there. But I think one of the major things that you need when it comes to business is the ability to be able to solve problems. Like I mentioned, I started my business because it was difficult to get farm labor. As far back as 2019, 2020, back then, we were getting workers from Cotonou, Togo. And it is even at high risk because you are paying a lot for them to come into the country, border, transportation, accommodation, feeding, and they can wake up one morning and just disappear. And then you see that you are just at a very terrible loss. That was the challenge that I saw. But I was not able to identify this challenge when I was not involved in the sector. It was when I was involved in the sector that I saw the challenge, and it was not just a new challenge. It was like a general challenge with farmers. We've seen a lot of farmers, even send money for transportation for workers, and then the workers will not show up, and then they get scammed. These are farmers that do not even have enough funds already in the agriculture sector. So you need to be able to have the keen eye in identifying challenges. But it's not enough to identify challenges. You also need to be creative enough to be able to start bringing solutions to all of those challenges, right? What is not available, for instance, we start looking at different models, opportunities to be able to bring water to a community, for instance, or challenges, how to address challenges. I think somebody recently made a post this week. Yeah, it's still this week around the strawberry sector in Nigeria. There's just one state that produces strawberry in Nigeria in abundance, right? But and then there's just one air flight that transports commodities from strawberry to Lagos, another part of the country. And then they decided, they were not going to fly to Jos again. That's where strawberry is produced. And you see that a lot of farmers are now at the mercy of whosoever it is that want to hear them, because there are not enough they are producing excess. There is excess supply in one location, then there is excess demand in another location. The best thing that you could easily have done is to connect them, right? But there's just that bridge that exists there. So a business thinking person is already thinking, okay, this is a challenge that exists, and it's not a new thing. It occurs every year. Like I mentioned, our agricultural sector, once it's a particular season for a particular commodity, we only see it in excess. Mango will come, you see excess mango out there. Whatever commodity you come, you see excess commodities in the market. Price crash down. There's wastage out there. So as a business person, you want to start thinking, okay, what are those innovations that you can bring in, to solve some of these challenges that exist in the agricultural sector. But again, you also just not think of maybe one innovations. You also need to troubleshoot that, for lack of better words, with the market and say, oh, market, this is what is going on, or this is what the feedback you are getting, and all of these things, and start saying, oh, is this model suitable for the agribusiness owners or not? So, for instance, when we had our first, or when the first model we did with Farmcast was to bring in, we brought in workers from the northern part of Nigeria, and then connected them to our agribusiness owners. But again, because I am also from the business angle, I've seen one of the challenges that farmers face in the agricultural sector, and one of the things that we did back then was to say the salary was not enough, so just give the staffs 100% of their salary. I tell you, I kid you not, by the end of that month that we brought workers from the north to the southern part of Nigeria, over 70% of them fled. Mind you, we've covered their transportation and all of those things. They just fled to other states around, and then we're doing bike work, which is also some of the challenge that we see in the agriculture sector, because other industry, in quotes, tend to pay better because we do not have a structured system that is able to support the agricultural sector. So, like I mentioned, problem solving is one of the critical skills that anybody who's coming into the agricultural sector needs to build over time. Another, of course, is the business management skill. It's not enough for you to say, oh, you're passionate about agri, you want to, in quotes, be the CEO of your firm and your life and all of those things. CEO is demanding. CEO means that you are innovative, you are answerable to a lot of people, your clients, your customers, value chain players, and all of those things. You are, yeah, for instance, you are a data analyst or you're a web designer doing one of the things in the agriculture sector and all of those things. If something goes wrong, they will definitely call you. So then there's also the need for you to be able to understand how to properly manage and run your business to be profitable. Because at the end of the day, one of the essence way beyond solving the challenge of the agriculture sector is also that you want to be super profitable, you want to be profitable, you want to be able to make money at the end of the day and sustain yourself. And then another critical skill, I think it's also very, very important for people, particularly young people, to build is the communication skill. And I cannot overemphasize this, particularly when it comes to the area where you can sell yourself, where you can be able to communicate what you are doing and nail and then hit the nail on the edge. You know, you're not meandering, paraphrasing, and all of this around. Able to say, this is the challenge you saw, this is what you are doing, and then this is the end result of what you are doing, or this is the skill that you have, this is what you are able to do, and then this is the outcome of what you are able to present to the table. Your communication skill is like an ever-evolving skill. It's a skill that you need to be able to continue to build over time. So I'll say for young people, build yourself, be able to sell yourself. People say that have that 1 minute speech deck where you're able to introduce yourself within 1 minute, where you're able to introduce yourself within 3 minutes, and then what you're able to offer to the table. You are this is what you do, and then this is the traction that you're able to drive for an organization, for instance, or this is how you're able to meet an organization's needs and then solve it ASAP. Communication is very, very important, and then there are a lot of ways where you can build your communication out there. Practice is the best one, trust me. You need to keep refining yourself. You need to keep defining yourself. Network more, of course, and network more. So I think one of the other areas that we also need to look at when it comes to communication is the use of digital platforms. I am a testament of using digital platform to be able to grow in the agricultural sector. And this is not just about growth; it's also for you to be able to network and learn. I am able to learn more through digital platform. I am able to share more of what I am doing. And really, for us as young people, you do not need to be for lack of better word now, perfect to put yourself out there. You don't need to be perfect to sell yourself, really. One of the things that starting small, and growing over time just for you is that you're able to get feedback from people. And even if you continue to get no over time, one of the things you get is that those no's are able to say they are pinpointing some of the lapses in maybe your skill, some of the lapses, maybe your business models and all of this, and say, okay, you can do this better, you can do this better, you can do this better. At the end of the year, or at the end of at a particular point, you see that you've been able to redefine yourself, you've been able to redefine your skills, you've been able to redefine, the opportunities that you bring out there to the agriculture sector, to the community, to the world generally, and the world will not even have the option to say no to you because you are the perfect fit. Do you remember where we started from? Where there's skill mismatch. That is exactly, you've been able to refine yourself to be able to say this is where the global trend is going. This is the skill that market is demanding for you. Refine yourself, you've been able to communicate. You have the problem solving skills and all of those things, and then you are able to grow over time generally. Then when it comes to business, also financial literacy is also very, very important. We've seen a lot of people, win a lot of money out there, grants, for instance, even people raise funds, crowdfunding and all of those things. But because of, lack of financial management and all of those things, a lot of these funds have been swiped away. They've not properly managed it, and then they're back to square one. So you also need to be able to understand how to be able to financially build yourself, drive customers, communicate, customers discovery, management, and all of those things is also under communication. So there are various training platforms. I think I've mentioned quite a number of them. There's precision agriculture for those of us that are really, really interested when it comes to digital technology and innovation in the agriculture sector. Precision agriculture, precision academy is the right fit for you to be able to learn all of the skills, technology, and way beyond learning. Also, they provide opportunity for you to interact with farmers, agribusiness owners, you connect and be able to have hands-on experience. Another way again is through internship and volunteering. I, for instance, or I for one, I've been able to grow through volunteering, working with a lot of agribusinesses, gaining the skills that I need. But before you go to volunteer, you do not just go to volunteer for the sake of volunteering. You need to identify what does this organization do? What are the relevant skills that I am able to gain in this organization? Does it, for instance, align with what I want to be in the nearest future, in the next 2 years, for instance, or in the next 1 year, in the next 3 years, and then you say, this year, this is what you want to focus on, and then you go to volunteer, intern, work with them, whatever ways that you want to do, and then you see that you are able to grow generally. So do not just stick to one training or learning opportunity. As you are learning online virtually, take the opportunity to also have some field experience as you continue in your learning. So yeah, like I mentioned, action-oriented steps that you need to take in learning all of these things. Number one, choose the niche that you want to work with. Agric is wide. Nobody can solve all of the problems of the agricultural sector. You cannot be seed, you cannot be the input supplier, you cannot be the producer, you cannot be the processor. There's just a lot of things in the agriculture sector. Now you need to find specific niche that you want to grow into, and how do you identify some of the specific niche that you want to grow into or that you want to get yourself involved in? First, of course, is discover what you're passionate about. What do you love doing, right? What is the market also saying? It's not enough to say, oh, you're passionate about this or this. Is it also marketable? Is it market relevant? Yeah, are there opportunities or avenue for you to grow? Are there opportunities or avenue for you to be able to earn from it? And one of the major or litmus tests is if it's able to solve people's problem, you will see that it is something that the market will always demand for. So these are some of the critical questions that you need to ask yourself before you decide, oh, this is a niche that I want to work with and then grow in. Second, then of course, like I mentioned, build skills, physical skills, hands-on skills, learn online and all of those things, and then grow over time. and then start small. Do not be the one that you're looking for one office in Banana Island before you start what you want to do, or you're looking for 100 hectares of land. There are just some people who pride themselves and say, "Oh, I'm not a farmer if you don't have 100 hectares of land." There are just a lot of people doing small scale. I'll not call it small scale agribusiness, right? But because they know what they are doing, what their markets demand for, a lot of people not having that don't have that large size of land, and then they export and make their money, and then they are doing amazingly well and all of these things. So I'll say start small. After you've identified the skills that you want to learn, after you gain some of these things, start small in implementing them. If it's an idea or initiative that you want to build into, or job employment opportunities, for instance, and you're looking for, there are a lot of job employment opportunities out there. There are a lot of platforms out there that can also support you when it comes to getting jobs out there. Look for them, connect to them, streamline. Even Google is like one of the best app that also supports you when it comes to getting jobs out there. You basically streamline what you the skills that you are looking for, the jobs that you are looking for. LinkedIn is a wonderful platform that you can also use in building yourself and also connecting to jobs that are also out there. Now, like I mentioned, technology is the game changer when it comes to agriculture. There is no aspect of agriculture, particularly in this age and century that we are, that does not need technology. And so, in everything that you are doing, as you are building your skill, you are building your network, you are building all of the things that you are building, you need to also start asking yourself, how do you begin to integrate technology into what you are doing? Right? AI is out there. There's precision. Agriculture, smart agriculture, driving innovations, and all of those things generally in the agriculture sector. So you need to start asking yourself, how do you begin to implement technology into what you are doing to be able to drive innovations and all of those things generally. Then I think another thing that you also need to look out for is to build network. A single tree does not, make a forest. You need people to be able to support you, people of like passions. You need to be able to learn from mentors that have gone before you. You also need to be able to learn from your peers and say, okay, this is what is going on, this is what they are learning, this is innovations. Because within network, you are able to have access to information is also what drives innovation and change in the agriculture sector generally. So yeah, you need to intentionally network with people. You're not just networking to people up there, you're also networking to people that are down there in things that you are doing generally. And as much as possible, if you can do connect mentors that are able to support your growth and guide you, because like I mentioned, they've walked the step. And lastly, I would say that document your journey, document your steps, because again, sometimes it might look weary that you think you are not making tangible growth, you think you're not making maybe taking effort enough and all of those things. But if you document your journey, it depends on how you want to document. You want to have like a diary, journal, maybe on social media. Take a lot of pictures, please. Take a lot of pictures, because you look back over the years and see where you were coming from or where you've been over time, and then you are able to say, define and identify the goals or your growth over times and all. So those are like the major areas or major things that I would say that as a young person in the agriculture sector that you need to really look out for and grow into. Thank you all very much. I hope I've not just been boring us with our conversations and all. But yeah, I think I'm open to questions and answers, particularly for those who are passionate about growing, building their skills and connecting to opportunities. This is not maybe employment opportunities, scholarship opportunities, skill, where you're able to build your skills generally in the agricultural sector. Thank you so much. I will hand over the mic to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Chi Africa. Thank you for that insightful, and thought-provoking presentation. Thank you so much. All right, so we will now proceed to the question and answer But if you have any question, though people have started dropping their question, so if you have any question, do well to send it to the chat box. Make use of the chat box, send your question, and it will be answered. All right. So we have a question here. He said, "Okay, well said, man. As an agriculture enthusiast with a mini farm and a big dream to have a sustainable farm, what are affordable digital agricultural tools that I can begin to use on my farm?" So that's the question we have from Salahuddin Aisha.
All right. It depends on what you are into. Like I mentioned, which area of agriculture are you into? You have a mini farm. I want to believe you are into crop production, or if it is animal husbandry, because this will determine some of the technology or digital platforms or innovations that you might get involved in. So, for instance, if you are someone who is into crop production, for instance, I would say one, get Plantix, Plantix. That is a digital platform, an app where you are able to easily scan your crop and detect, oh, these are specific diseases that are affecting your crop, like I mentioned, and it gives like a breakdown of solutions that you can put in and preventive measures. If you are into animal husbandry, I think I might have to send that later, but I know there are some innovations in the animal husbandry sector, particularly when it comes to poultry production. I've seen. I'm trying to remember the name of these things, but I think I'll just send them back. So there are just quite a number of them. You can easily go online and search for some of these technologies and innovations that are out there, and then implement them into what you are currently doing. And again, some of these technologies, again, might not be big tools. There are apps out there that basically help you track your farm record. There are apps out there that basically help you manage your finance. That is, create invoice and all of this. And like I mentioned, administrative aspect of agriculture. There are apps out there that basically support, since you're a mini farm, that if it's like a large scale farmer and all of those things, salary payments, and all of those things, customer acquisition, that basically supports, you're able to gather all of the data that you need for your customers and be able to make inference and say, oh, this is, what your customers are really demanding for, looking forward to, or this is like a peak period of production for you. And then you're able to plan better. So it basically depends on the sector or the niche that you're working with, and then you could go online and then browse all of these opportunities out there.
All right, thank you so much. So Salahuddin, I hope your question has been answered. All right, so we also have another question here. I was affected by the unpredictable rainfall pattern this year in my region in Kwara South. Please, ma, are there websites where I could get more accurate rain forecast so as to help me farm better?
Okay, yeah. So I'll say the first one is NIMET. You go to NIMET's platforms. You are able to be able to get NIMET is the official body of Nigeria that coordinates, weather and all of those things. And I know that recently they partnered with I think FAO to be able to ensure that the data that they provide out there are as much as possible accurate. So I would say yes, connect with them. They are able to support you. Go to their website. Again, for those of us that use iPhones and all, iPhone, weather forecast is plus or minus almost predictable. You're able to know, okay, this is, if rain is going to fall or if rain is not going to fall and all. And please, and please, I think I even forgot to mention this. For those of us that are particularly into crop farming, it is not advisable to not have irrigation available on your farm. It is not advisable to not have irrigation or water source available on your farm, because unpredictable weather pattern will continue to be a recurring thing. There is no solution to it at the moment, right? So you need to prepare ahead. Because again, like I mentioned, if we are waiting for rain failed agriculture. If rain falls normally for 6 months and rain decides to fall for 3 months now, you see that at the end of the day, right, it's not sustainable. particularly when it comes to our food sector and all generally. So I would say that as much as possible, get irrigation to be available on your farm. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. All right, so we have another question here. Are there opportunities available for youth in Nigeria to join an agri-tech? Okay, to join an agri-tech company to build their careers. That's the question, Ma.
Yeah, there are quite a number of opportunities out there. So, for instance, one of the things that we do in farm cars is, like I mentioned, beyond training, is to connect people to opportunities out there. We have the career fairs, for instance, where we basically connect undergraduates to IT placement opportunities in the agricultural sector. But way beyond undergraduates, we also work with some NYC members to connect them some opportunities. And then beyond NYC, also, we've seen quite a number of young people that have reached out to us to maybe volunteer, learn a skill, and all of those things, internship basically, and then we've connected them. So I think you basically need to, maybe you can connect to FarmCars one, and we can connect you. But again, it depends on the agri-tech company that you want to work with. Precision Feed Agriculture Academy, rather, who is the host of today's event, is also in depth, or the OGA, if I'll use that word, when it comes to digital platforms and companies in the agricultural sector generally. So I think you can reach out to them and also connect to them for them to be able to guide you better.
All right, thank you so much. So just as Chi Africa said, what we do at Precision Feed Academy, we provide mentorship, we provide training, capacity building, for youth in agriculture that are interested in digital agriculture. So if you have any question, do well to reach out to us. If you have not been following us on social media, also follow us. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and ask your question, or go to our website, to check what we do. And there is a space there where you can actually reach out to us. Thank you so much. All right, so we also have another question here. Okay. Thank you so much for your teaching, ma'am. I'm Chidima, and I'm a graduate of soil science. I love to further my education in soil science. So this question is not complete, but maybe what she's asking is that what can you advise? What can you advise her to do? Since she have interest in furthering her education in soil science.
Okay, I namesake is nice connecting with you. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, really, for young people. Like I mentioned, I am a children scholar, and so I am in the UK currently for my master's. So you want to, one, streamline to the sort of opportunities that you're looking out for. You want to learn more about soil and all of those things, which is very, very amazing. Now you need to start looking at opportunities that support some of these, or that supports you in that area. Sorry, you need to look at opportunities that support you in that area or in that niche that you're looking out for. The opportunities, for instance, can be a fellowship. The opportunities, for instance, can be, a scholarship for you to proceed further in your learning. The opportunity can also be like a research scholarship opportunities for you to be able to, research more about soil. So you need to be specific for the ones that you want to look out for. There are also opportunities around maybe policy making in respect to soil operations and all. And then there are some specific organizations too that that are focused on soil. I know of one which is cash for youth, that is basically focused on youth in soil operations. And I know that there are quite a number of opportunities, training opportunities that they've shared on some of the platforms and all. So you can easily search for them for some of these opportunities, and then you are able to connect with them. Read the criteria that they have, and then basically, yeah, connect generally.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. So Chidima, I hope you get what Chi Africa said. So streamline your search, your passion, so that you'll be able to know what to go for and what to do. Thank you so much. All right, so we have another question here. Okay, my question is, do you think having an MSc in soil science is a marketable degree or something I could make a living with. Soil science is not common like other areas of agriculture. That's a question.
Sincerely, there is, particularly if you come to Nigeria now, there is very little production that you will do without soil. So one, it basically shows you how relevant, how vital it is. And I think I like your question because one of the recent things that we've seen at FarmCast is that, a lot of farms have reached out to us and say, oh, they need an agronomist or they need a farm manager. And you see that they get some of these agronomists, in quotes, they know more about crop than they know about soil. And there's a cordial relationship between soil and crop. If your soil is not doing well, your crop will most likely not do well because a lot of things can go wrong. And so one of the things I was seeing recently is a lot of farmers have been requesting for, I need an agronomist with experience on soil specifically, right? So you see, these are some of the common relevant work. But again, like I mentioned, it's not enough for you to say, oh, you study soil science. Do you have the necessary skills, experience? Do you understand what goes on in the soil? Particularly when we talk about pH, for instance, how pH affects, the uptake of nutrients from the soil, diseases in the soil, how do you treat your soil, and all of those things. So if you have skills that are relevant in these things and then you think you are still not seeing opportunities, then I think it also comes down to your communication. How are you selling yourself out there? Are you also using digital platforms to project yourself? You might even want to begin to, in quotes, educate people on the importance of soil, things that goes on in the soil. You see that when you call attention, people know that you understand your onions, you know what you are doing, and then it's easier for people to really, 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 really connect with you and say, oh, can you come on board? We are working on a lot of research. Because sincerely, I think one of the major research, aside from those that are into breeding and all of this, one of the major research that I've seen out there is in respect to soil. Because soil is related to water, soil is related to nutrients in this what's called nutrient management and all of this. So it's encompassing and embedding. So you really need to be specific, on building skills, market-driven skills in this specific niche, or then you also need to now start communicating your value, communicating the knowledge that you know to people, to employers, and then making the best use of it.
Thank you so much, Africa. All right, so second to the last question for today. What are the major reasons many young people are still reluctant to pursue careers in agriculture, despite the opportunities that are available in agriculture? So how can we address this issue?
Okay, there are several reasons. One, there are a lot of competitive sector out there. Trust me. Everybody wants to be a tech bro or a tech sis where you are at home, at the comfort of your home, pressing your laptop and earning cool money, right? Second thing again that you also see to that is that some of these sectors have been able to embed remote roles into them. And you see again, young people are also more driven to be able to do some of the things done or so I think these are some of the major challenges that has derailed young people from coming into the agriculture sector. Because again, agriculture is capital intensive, right? And a lot of agribusinesses currently are also trying to stay afloat because of a lot of issues, climate related issues, access to finance, market volatility and all. So you see that they are just basically cutting their budgets, and then what they're able to pay those that are in the agriculture sector might not be in quotes sustainable for young people. So these are some of the challenges that I see that are hindering young people from coming into the agriculture sector. But again, how can we address some of these things? Again, one is to build a well-structured food system where farmers are at the center of it, or agribusinesses are at the center of it, because food is vital for everybody. If farmers decide to shut down for like 1 month, we know exactly, we've seen situations where farmers decide, where onions farmers said, oh, they were not going to send onions down south. We saw how the price of some of this commodity went up. We've seen that in ginger. So these are some of the major challenges that exist out there. So it's around structuring our food system such enough that it is not porous and to be able to sustain each and every one of us generally.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. So last question for today. So how can government and private sectors, stakeholders collaborate together to create a sustainable pathway, for youth inclusion in agriculture? Both private sector and government, how can they collaborate?
Okay, so I like that question because that is like one of the things that I am currently studying and working on as my project. Creating that synergy business between businesses, between governments, and between talents in the agricultural sector. And first one of the key to critical ones that I think that government can really do is work with or partner with agribusinesses that are already into training opportunities. For instance, like precision field agriculture, we have like soilless farm lab. We have other training, graduate training programs that institutions that are out there. When government supports such agribusinesses, you see that a lot of young people go into training to learn some of the skills. But way beyond learning some of these skills, right? There's also the need to connect them to other agribusinesses that exist, where they're able to implement some of their learnings and then they earn. I know that recently UNDP Nigeria started, I think, a Jubilee program sort of where they train and connect you to I think it was tech focused where they train and connect you to agribusinesses. Sorry, I said businesses generally, but there, like I mentioned, there's a PPP partnership where there's a percentage of the individual salary that they pay, and the government pays the other one. So one of the things that you see that does that is that agribusinesses are able to the funds that they would have spent more on salary paying, they could roll that back into their agribusiness operations, and then you see that they are able to make tangible progress. And then the second side to this also is that they're also able to employ more. So if, for instance, if my budget for employment is let's say ₦1 million and I can't, my salary, I can only employ like 3 people for ₦1 million. If governments decide to say, oh, okay, we'll support your budget, and pay you 500K extra, I have room to be able to either roll that back into my business or employ more people to, drive the business growth or not. So I think those are like some of the major uh, partnerships between government and businesses that I think we work and then we do great things in supporting youth growth in the agriculture sector. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Africa. Thank you for your time. Yeah, thank you for honoring our invitation. We really appreciate that. So as we draw the curtain of on day two, Agrocentric Webinar 2025, I would like to sincerely appreciate our speaker, Chidima Eze, for sharing our experience. Thank you for sharing your experience and practical insight, and for the great work you are doing at Farm Cars. We really appreciate that. So thank you so much. All right, so thank you so much everyone for joining. So if you need more clarification on what we do at Precision Feed Academy, do want to go through our website, check our website. Okay, check what we do at there. Follow us on social media if you are not following us. So follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and follow us on Facebook. So for more updates, for more information on what we do at Precision Feed Academy. And also we are currently running our Ember sales, discount sales and all on all of our courses. For our basic drone pilot competence course, before initially it is 200,000, but due to the discount sales, it is now 100,000. So you can maximize this opportunity to actually skill up, to skill up in digital agriculture. So do we all, please, I want you all to sorry. All right, so thank you so much. Thank you to all our participants for your time. Thank you for the engagement and meaningful contribution, throughout today's session. And we encourage you to stay connected, with Precision Feed Academy for upcoming programs, trainees and future Agrocentric webinar. Have a pleasant evening, and we look forward to engaging with you all. Thank you so much.